A developer opens a terminal, a laptop screen glows and invoice prints. The two top AI coding tools split by $68 a seat at team scale. Almost every comparison skips it. Here's why that $68 gap matters. It isn't a one-time cost. At team scale, it repeats across every developer seat, every month, so 10 seats can swing your bill by hundreds. And this isn't the cheap tool versus the good tool. Both Cursor and Claude Code are top-tier AI coding tools in 2026. So why does one seat cost 5 times the other? That's the real question. Start with what Claude Code costs. For one person, the entry plan is $20 a month. The top individual plan runs $100 a month. Both of those tiers include Claude Code, according to Anthropic's pricing page. So far, simple. The gap shows up when a team signs up. On Claude's team plan, a standard seat costs $20 a seat per month, billed annually. A premium seat, the one that includes full Claude Code access, costs $100 a seat per month, per that same pricing page. Sit with those two numbers. $100 for premium, $20 for standard. That's an $80 difference on paper between the two Claude seat types. But the headline comparison most people actually run isn't Claude against itself. It's Claude Code against Cursor. And Cursor teams lands around $32 a seat per month. Line those up. Cursor at $32, Claude Code Premium at $100. That's the $68 a seat gap the title flagged. This is where the gap lives, not in some hidden fee. In the plain, published seat price, sitting in a comparison table that most tool roundups quietly skip past. So what is Cursor and why is it cheaper? Cursor is built on top of VS Code, the popular free code editor. It's the same familiar window most developers already know, which gives it a low learning curve. You install it, and it feels like the tool you were already using. And that points at how Cursor works. It's editor first. A developer sits in the driver's seat and makes the edits, while Cursor suggests the next line and helps along the way. The human stays at the wheel. That design keeps costs lower and the plan cheaper. Now is this some scrappy underdog? Not even close. Cursor is made by a company called Enosphere. In November 2025, Enosphere closed a $2.3 billion funding round that valued it at $29.3 billion, according to Wikipedia's page on the company. Then it got bigger. On June 16, 2026, SpaceX announced it would buy Enosphere in a $60 billion all-stock deal, according to reporting on the acquisition. Let that sit. A $60 billion deal for a code editor. So the cheaper seat isn't the weaker product. It's a deliberate design. Keep the human driving, keep the price down. Which raises the obvious question. What is the pricier seat doing differently to justify 5 times the cost? Here's the difference that explains the price. Cursor waits for you to drive. Claude Code doesn't. It's agent first, which means you hand it a task and it works on its own. It runs your tests, checks the build, and even saves the finished work to your project's history, all without you clicking through each step. But there's a catch to how it runs. Claude Code lives in the terminal, the plain text command window, not a friendly point-and-click screen. So it carries a steeper learning curve. You need to be comfortable typing commands, according to 2026 comparisons of the two tools. That comfort is the price of admission, and this autonomous work is finding buyers. Claude Code became available to everyone in May 2025. By February 2026, it reached about $2.5 billion in yearly revenue, according to research firm Sacra, with big companies making up more than half of that. Read that against the terminal barrier, a tool that scares off beginners still pulled in that kind of money, because businesses will pay for work that runs itself. So now the gap makes sense. You're not paying 5 times more for a nicer editor. You're paying for a worker that acts on its own versus an assistant that helps you type. Autonomous work costs more to deliver, so it costs more to buy. That covers the why. Now the money decision. When does the $100 premium seat pay for itself? And when is the $20 seat plenty? The premium seat earns its keep when a person spends their day on big autonomous work, changing dozens of files at once, generating tests, running things overnight. Set that worker loose, and the higher price buys back hours. But here's the objection that saves real money. You don't need every seat on premium. Look at the mix. On a 10-person team, maybe 3 people do heavy agent work and 7 do small, careful edits. Only the 3 need the $100 seat. So mix your seats by role. Put the agent-heavy people on the $100 premium seat. Put the surgical edit people on the $20 standard seat, where cursor at 32 or a standard Claude seat is often enough. Do that math. 3 premium seats plus 7 standard seats cost far less than 10 premium seats. The $68 gap stops being a tax on your whole team and becomes a choice you make seat by seat. Career and engineering coaches suggest this exact split, because paying for autonomy on a seat that only does one-line fixes is money set on fire. The trap most managers fall into is buying one plan for everyone. Match the seat to the work, and the gap works for you. So here's the whole mechanism clicked into place. The real answer isn't pick one. It's run both and split the work by task type. Most power users scaffold with Claude Code, then polish with Cursor. They let the agent generate the bulk changes and run the tests, then open the same project in Cursor for the visual tweaks and small surgical edits, because the agent can drift on tiny UI details, according to 2026 builder verdicts. Use Claude Code for the long, hands-off jobs. The migrations and overnight runs a driver-based editor simply can't do. Use Cursor for the one-function fixes, and stay on the $20 tier, where it's cheaper on usage. And start cheap. Both tools begin at $20 a month, so trial each at that price before you commit anyone to a premium plan. Do it this way, and the $68 gap only applies where autonomy actually earns it. The premium seat isn't a cost you swallow across the board. It's a tool you point at the exact work that pays it back. That's the piece the comparison tables leave out. So what does this mean for you? Here's the one thing to carry out. The $68 a seat gap between Cursor and Claude Code isn't a quality gap. It's an autonomy gap. You pay the premium for a worker that runs on its own, and you skip it for a seat that just helps a human type. Map that to your team. Count how many people truly need overnight, multi-file automation, and how many only need quick edits. The gap should show up on exactly that many seats and nowhere else. So there it is, the $68 a seat gap, and the fix, which is running both tools and splitting the work by task. Go map your own team. Standard seats for the editors, premium seats for the agents. For more calm, numbers-first tool breakdowns like this, subscribe. This is information, not financial or career advice, so do your own research before you buy.